I'm live. It's just me. What's up, everybody? It is 2024. We're about to kick off the 10th season of the D League, and Jameson is indisposed. Um, it'll probably be just me for most of the year. Uh, Jameson has 3 kids, and he is currently trying to get his master's, and he just started that um, like basically last week. So he doesn't really have a lot of time to dick around on a podcast, but I do because my kid goes to bed at 7, and that's pretty much all I have going on in my life. Um, so we're gonna roll with this. I do on Wednesdays. I play Flesh and Blood until about 6 to 9:30, and then I'll get on and do a pod for maybe 30 45 minutes hopefully, and we'll keep it rolling. It won't be me and my brother. Won't be Flesh and Blood in real life. It'll just be me and whoever I can snag that night. Um, but yeah, well, it should still be good. Don't worry, I got you. Holding you tightly. So to do a little bit of a recap, we did not do a league like end of year thing. Um, once all the championship stuff had run, because both Jameson and I got knocked to the playoffs, and anything after that doesn't count. But actually, what happened was I don't really know. Actually, Jameson was super busy. Rosemary was starting to get a little older and a little more involved. I messaged Jameson a couple times, or he and I messaged back and forth trying to find a time that would work after the season was over, and nothing ever did. So we just kind of said, "Screw it, um, figure it out later." Um, and then we never did. And then by the time we did figure it out, Jameson was gone. Oh, also my dad is in Texas with them hanging out. So even if Jameson didn't have 3 kids and a master's degree, he wouldn't be able to pod tonight. And I know everyone's going to the draft this weekend, and by everyone I mean about 15 of you. So I wanted to give you a little treat on your way down to Kansas City. Speaking of the draft, there is a pretty light load going down I-35, which is a bit of a bummer, but I get it. I know Jameson's doing his like survey to try and figure out like why aren't people going to the draft, but I've told him a couple times like chill out. We just had the biggest draft ever last week or last year, and just so happens that this year it is the 10-year anniversary, but stuff happens. I mean, I'm not going. Jameson's not going himself. I know Tisha and Zach aren't able to make it. I'll be drafting basically at a wedding, so shit happens. Maybe next year will be better. I feel bad for Goose and the KC crew that aren't going to have a lot of turnout, but I'm sure it'll be a fun time. Kansas City is great. Anyway, the story so far. So yeah, Jameson has 3 kids. Not going to be around much. Maybe he'll be a guest. It'll be me. I've had a pretty fantastic summer. Bought 3 e-bike or not 3, 2 e-bikes on a hell of a sale, 60% off. So we've been dicking around on those a lot. We got 2 cats. So our original cat Dave disappeared. We used to let him out back to go run around outside, and he'd be back at the window every morning. And then one day he just was not at the window anymore. That was about 3 or 4 months ago. So then we adopted 2 sister kittens. They're running around behind me right now. They're super cute. That's been great. I've been playing Flesh and Blood weekly and doing really well. And I just played a tabletop RPG for the first time in my life with Zacher and like 5 other of our friends, and my brother-in-law, who's also a friend of mine. It was a blast. Highly recommend getting out of your comfort zone and checking it out. But anyway, oh, also Freeze and I played some NCAA 25. That game rules. I kicked the shit out of him week or first game, and then he eviscerated me the second game. So I think the only thing I really learned there was defense is basically impossible in in that game, but it's a lot of fun. So if you have a hankering for football, we are a week away from college football. Check it out. All right, so on to league stuff, right? So we're 7 months. We've made it 7 months since the season ended, and we never did a recap. So here it is. Presidents in first place and his second title, I believe, Justin Long. In second place, just missing out on what would have been his fourth title, was Bogey. And then third place, Jameson. Jameson is pretty much eternally in third or second or anywhere but number one. In Newhall, number one was Hanks for his second title. Number two was Teeds, and third place was DeWitt. Old Hall, first place was Bianchi, second place was Sullivan, and third place Prier. Peters Cuervo, we had first was Zhao. And I wanted to call this one out specifically because at one point in the season, actually a specific point, week 8, Zhao was 1-7, and he rattled off however many wins that is in a row to make playoffs and then won Peters Cuervo. I don't think I've ever seen somebody come back from 1-7. Usually at like 1-4, you're just 1-5, you're dead in the water. So that was quite impressive. Second place was Helt. Third place was Murphy. Blipto, we had first place Brian Nelson. B Nelson, I think that's his second title. Second place was Josh Nelson, and third place was T. Shan. Herman German, first place was Mallet. He was also this is the first time he's been in the league, so that was very impressive. We had to convince his ass to even get in the league, and then he wins it. And then I'm pretty sure he's going to quit, which would have been bullshit. But somebody convinced him to stay. And then Mason got second, and Freeze got third. Guggenheim, my league, first place was Alex Foster. I know he had a pretty rough start too, so his squad came on late. He beat Podwards, so this is the second time Podwards has had a hell of a team and gotten knocked out or come up just short. And then third place was Denton. Denton was in first place pretty much all year. Also in the chat. Oh, Freeze was in the chat too. Hello. Um, uh, First place all year for Denton. Third place is pretty solid. You know, the playoffs are a crapshoot, so you at least got your money back. Wanted to call out a couple of rule changes because I know Jameson had gotten a few emails or texts from people who are too fucking stupid to read their emails. We had a big vote last year on a bunch of different changes. Some of them passed, some of them didn't. One of the ones that did not pass was the auction draft. So the way that this was actually worded was if the entire league that you're in, like let's say you're in Guggenheim, wanted to do an auction draft, you could. For some reason, probably reading comprehension, people just said no, we don't want to do that, rather than just letting it go through. And then on the off chance that 12 people said yeah, an auction would be fun, you could do it. Instead, you can't. So way to vote against your own interests. I'm sure a lot of you do that a lot. And then we had two things did pass. First was the last playoff spot is going to go to the highest point scored who did not make playoffs. In other words, me. In other words, Jeff. In other words, people that have good teams, the best teams, really. They always say that we have the best teams, but didn't make playoffs. So, number 6, if you have an incredible team, you just got really unlucky, you're going to be in over somebody like, I don't know. I don't even have an example in my head. Some fucking 7-9 team that squeaked in or whatever. So, draft good teams, you should most likely be rewarded. And then the next thing was the draft. So you probably noticed when you did your draft, the 100-yard dash gave you the order in which you would pick your draft position. So if you had the first overall pick, you could pick any of the 12 spots to be in. And then it went on down the line. So you could kind of choose your own destiny, pick your preference, that kind of thing. So both of those things passed. Those will be, I don't know, permanent, but they'll be long-time rules of the league. And there'll be things you have to deal with. So get used to it. The next thing I want to cover was awards from last year because I think we did this the year before, and I thought they were funny. So for awards, the first one I'm going to go most heart. The guy who committed to the bit, the guy who stuck it out the longest, brought his lunch pail to work, his hard hat, first in, last out. Zhao. You don't go 1-7 to a champ without working your ass off. That's a little mantra for you. Little hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I want you all to remember that. That's Zhao right there. He's not talented at all, but he works really hard. Newcomer of the year, I'm going to give that to Mallet. I mean, you were not in the league 8 months ago, or no, sorry, a year ago, and then you win. It's a pretty competitive league, I would say. That's pretty goddamn impressive. I don't know if I don't think we had any other first year people win, at least not this year. Next award was going to be worst draft. Originally, I put myself in this because, as I mentioned towards the end of last year, my 16-person draft, by the time the season rounded up, I think I had 2 people left that I drafted. Yeah, Jalen Hurts and Alvin Kamara. Everybody else was off of my squad, either via trade or season-ending injuries or just drafting really, really shitty players. Oh, no, 3. Amari Cooper was on there too. That was it. Draft better, folks. Don't make it as hard as I did. But then Goose reminded me that a little man by the name of Mitch Peters had by far the worst draft I've ever seen in my life, and that's including Dusty auto drafting for everything, or taking 6 QBs or whatever. His first 9 picks went like this: Nick Chubb 109, Derrick Henry 204, Jahmyr Gibbs 3.9, Cam Akers 4.4, James Cook 5.9, James Conner 6.4, Rashad White 7.9, Brian Robinson 8.4, Samaje Perine 9.9, Chigakonkwo 10.4, Daniel Jones 11.9, Geno Smith 12.4, Jalen Warren 13.9, and his wide receiver 1 in the 14th round, Zay Jones. That is unbelievable. And to top it all off, I'm pretty sure Mitch made playoffs, right? Herman German? Yeah, I'm going to look at this right now. Oh, no, he didn't. Never mind. That would have been fucking nuts. He was 9th. Mitch Peters didn't draft a wide receiver in a 3 wide receiver start format until the, what did I say, 13th round, and he outscored he beat Goose by almost 30 points, and Nick Stumbo and Woody Fresh. I forgot what Wood's first name is. Oh, but Woody had the most points scored against him. But anyway, yeah, that's really funny that you beat 3 people auto drafting all running backs. So I think he wins it. The worst draft pick of the year is Austin Eckler. I think that's pretty clear. Tony Pollard was really bad too, but he was at least in the second. Austin Eckler was atrocious. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that high ankle sprain would be over somewhere halfway through the season, and he just looked like he was running in mud. And then worst waiver move. I had 2 really. Goose sent me this one that Nick Stumbo thought that the waiver wire refreshed every week, so he spent $100 on Jerome Ford, which is pretty funny. That's not how waivers work. But then Canoose messaged me and let me know that what is this, week 3, week 1? I think week 1 or week 2. He dropped Sam Laporta. It doesn't look like he picked anybody up. He just straight up dropped Sam Laporta. J-Long picks up Sam Laporta a week later. for $6, and Sam Laporta does what? Finishes as the tight end 1. So that is by far the worst waiver move of the year. You can survive $100 on a starting running back. You can't typically survive giving up the tight end 1 for nothing. And keeping in that president's group, we have the worst waiver or worst trades of the year. And there weren't a lot. I honestly thought that the Tex and Shugart one had happened this year, but it's actually last year. But the only one I really found for worst trade of the year is also between Josh and or Canuste and Jaylon. So Jaylon gets the number 1 tight end in the league for $6 because of Josh, and then he trades. Canuste trades away Brandon Ayuk and Jalen Warren and gets Stephon Diggs. And I remember this trade because I thought it was weird that Jaylon would start both Ayuk and Debo, because usually one blows up and the other one doesn't. But then I see the Week 16 matchup where Canuste lost by 7 points, 8 points, and there we have it. Debo Samuel and Ayuk all together score about 22, and Stephon Diggs scores 5. And Canuste gets knocked out of the playoffs. Off the back of those players, Jalen goes on to his second title. That one hurts. Those are the ones that stick with you for a long time, Canuste. I've been there, buddy. It never gets easier. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I was going to do like worst owners and all sorts of other stuff, but going back through all the old leagues was pretty hard, and nobody sent me anything, so I didn't bother. Next up, I want to look at a bit of the draft boards, or list a little bit of a draft preview here. So we could look at and pick our own draft position. And I was talking to Will tonight, and he was talking about how he decided to go kind of similar that I did. He picked 9, and I picked 11. We were both kind of thinking like, well, if 1 through 5 is picked, then usually the dead zone where you don't want to be is like 6 through 8, 9, somewhere in there. So I was like, I'm gonna pick 11 and be towards the end so I can go back to back, and Will decided to do 9. But we realized, because we hadn't done any mock drafts until basically this week, was that all of the good players are taken basically in the first 8, and then the back end of the first all the way until like the start of the third are all players where they either are shitty to draft at that cost, or you need to like reach way above what their ADP is to grab them. So like if I win at 11, my wide receiver 1 is Drake London or Garrett Wilson. That could be good. My running back 1 is Saquon Barkley or some combination of that. And then I go and I see all the people ahead of me going like Tyreek Hill and then Derrick Henry and then or like Amon-Ra St. Brown and or AJ Brown and I don't know, fucking Kyron Williams or Isaiah Pacheco or Laporta or something like that. Like just anytime I've done any mock draft in the last couple of days, the team looks fucking terrible. And for the first time in the 10 years, us having our own pick our own draft position, like it really opens my eyes to how little I know about this game and how bad I am at it. Because 11's really bad this year. Yeah, the entire second round is just a minefield. Like go down the list. Drake London, he hasn't really proved it. Kirk Cousins is old and coming off an Achilles. Garrett Wilson, I mean, he's an amazing player probably, but Aaron Rodgers is like 44 and on drugs. Uh, Saquon Barkley, probably going to get vultured touchdowns by Hurts. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor's. Kyron Williams can't stay healthy. They drafted a running back right behind him. Fucking Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. They're all My headset just died. Oh, there's no sound coming in, so it's just like, oh, you're done talking. Anyway, the entire second round is just the entire landmine, and I wish I could just forego it to get like 2 third-round picks, really. What else? I already talked about the draft. Oh yeah, the draft time this year is at 7 p.m. because, from what I understand, the um, Boulevard doesn't allow like events like that until the evening. So for the first time in 10 years, we're doing an evening draft, and for the first time in 10 years, I'll be at a wedding and unable to draft ahead of whatever event I was going to be at. And instead, I'll be at a reception or in the middle of a dinner or some shit when the draft kicks off. So really nice work, everybody in Kansas City. That's awfully thoughtful for all of us at home. I guess that tells you should just go to the draft. Um, yeah, I was gonna do a League Legacy check-in, but I don't really know what to look at there. So instead, I'm gonna talk to you all about Flesh and Blood. It's an amazing one-on-one card game. We're gonna do a little opening here because I went 2-1 at my armory tonight and got a couple packs. Let's see, we got a rare here called Turn Timber. We got another rare called Rites of Lightning. Ooh, we got a majestic cold foil. It's pretty nice. Channel Mount Heroic. We got some commons. I don't know, man. Football needs to start. This is driving me fucking nuts. We are so goddamn close. That was it. Oh, there's another one. Voltaire Strike Twice. That's a weapon. So that's pretty tight. I'm pretty sure that weapon is banned, actually. All right. Well, pop in. Gave you the lay of the land. It'll probably just be me and a guest from here on out. Welcome back. Welcome back to all those who re-upped. Those who left, fuck you. I hope you leak out of your butt for the rest of your life. All right, bye.